Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today as we dive into this particular webinar topic, which is getting started with Verbum. My name is Carlie, and I am a customer success manager here at Verbum Catholic Study Software, and I'm so grateful to have you here with me today. As we dive into this topic, I will be going through a few introductory comments as well as just giving you a few housekeeping items so that you know what to expect during our time together today. But I would also love to know a little bit about you as I begin to do that. So while I begin to go over a few of those introductory comments, would you mind drop in the chat box for me? This way we'll make sure that chat box is working as well. Go ahead and drop your name and where you're viewing from today. I would love to know. And also share with me, how long have you had the software and how regularly do you use it? If you'd like to share that as well, that would be so helpful for me to know also. So as I mentioned, my name's Carlie, and I've been with Verbum here now for a couple of years. And prior to coming to work here, I was in a parish role. I was in ministry for about 7 years, working as a pastoral assistant for a youth ministry and young adult ministry, and then also family formation. So I was really grateful to be in that role for about 7 years after getting my theology degree. And so grateful to be kicking off these webinars with you today as we dive into some of the basics as you get started using Verbum. So here's what you can expect during our time together today. I want to let you know, first of all, that after this webinar, you're going to be able to navigate your homepage, set your prioritized books and search your library, as well as take advantage of layouts. This is what we will be going over today. It's very basic, so it's very much for those of you who are newer to the software, but also maybe you've had the software for a while and you haven't learned how to, or you never took the time to prioritize those books, or you're not sure what layouts are. Stick around. I would love to be able to cover that with you. And in the coming weeks, we will have additional webinars on all other topics as well. So stick around and know that I'm also happy to answer questions at the end. I want to let you know that our webinar duration time is about 30 minutes. That's about how long it takes me to go over the content that I have prepared for you today. So you're invited to chat any questions that you have on the topic today in our Q&A box. You'll see up at the top a chat box and a Q&A box. The chat box you can feel free to use as we go through as well. It's a great way to build community, and I do keep an eye on it. But when it comes to questions, if you don't mind dropping those in the Q&A, this will just ensure that I'm able to see those and answer all of those questions at the end of our time together today. I also want to let you know that there is a survey to take. You'll see it there at the top of your chat box. You can click that link at any time. If you have to leave early today, feel free to click it. It's just going to open up a separate tab for you. And that tab will allow you to click through some questions and let me know how today's webinar served you. This is the first time that we're running one of these live Verbum webinars. This is very exciting, but we want to make sure that we're continuing to improve, and we want to make sure these are serving you well. So if you wouldn't mind filling that out for me, that would be such a gift, and I'd be so grateful for your feedback. Last thing I should let you know before I take a look and see who we have here with us today is that this webinar is being recorded. So you'll receive a copy of this recording in just a few hours after we conclude today. So you can feel free to sit back, relax, enjoy a cup of coffee or lunch wherever you are. And once you receive that recording, you'll be able to review and rewatch this webinar. You can pause and play and practice with your software open at the same time once that hits your inbox. So I want to let you know that as well. So let me take a look and see who we have here with us today, and then I'll pull my software up and we will dive right into all of the content that I have prepared today as we get started with Verbum. All right, so I'm taking a look here. I want to welcome, we've got Cindy from Albuquerque. Welcome, thanks for being here, using it for 3 or 4 years, but you had it for 3 or 4 years, but haven't used it much. So glad that you're here. Welcome, Tom. Thanks for being here. I see you're a longtime user. Welcome, Mercedes. Great. And John, welcome. And then we've got Steve in Chicago. Excellent. I'm so glad that you're all here. And as I can see, you've got a few people who either have been longtime users and haven't used the software, so know that today it's very basic, but we have a full series. So we'll be going through a lot of topics, and I'll also tell you a little tip. When you take the survey at the end today, feel free, there's an opportunity in that survey to let me know what types of trainings you'd like to see, because I'm still creating content for the future months and would love to know from you what type of content you'd like to see. So make sure you take that survey at the end of our time together today. All right, I'm going to pull my software up as we get started here. And again, we will be just going through some of the basics, giving you a little tour of Verbum today. And then as we move forward, we'll be diving into each of the tools more in depth and talking about different uses for them. So I'm excited for to start this journey today. So first thing that we're going to start with today is we're going to start with a little tour of this dashboard. And so when you open your software, this is the desktop version, just for clarity's sake. This is what we'll be talking about today is our desktop version. So this is the desktop app. This is where you will find the most complete version of the software. So you're going to be able to use all of the tools in the desktop app. So at the top of our desktop app, we have our what we call our dashboard. Now, this dashboard is customizable by you. And when you open it, you may initially just see this quick start here. Know that you can always remove anything that doesn't apply to you just by clicking the panel menu, which is the 3 little dots. That's what we call our panel or our kebab menu here on the side, and just clicking remove card. So if there's something that doesn't apply to you that's there, click it, remove it. To add to your dashboard, you'll be able to do so using this little plus sign here. I'm going to click this so you can see the different options. Now you can customize this dashboard to, again, to fit your workflow and your needs. So you'll notice that there's different courses you can add, daily devotionals, homily, layouts, lectionaries, prayer lists, reading plans, saints, and workflows. Now, we're just going to look at 1 or 2 options today, because in the future trainings, we will dig even more into some of these other ones. But today, I want to show you one that I think is a great one to add initially is the saints. So let's go ahead and click on this, and I'll show you what this offers for us. So you'll see here, and yours may look slightly different than mine, but you should all for sure have this devotional here, this Saints with Verbum. You'll be able to check that box here. And once you've checked it, you'll want to go ahead and click add here at the bottom. Now, if you prefer, you can select a different one, and keep in mind, you can select one and remove it. And so you can just play around and see what you end up liking and using. So we're going to go ahead and click add just like this. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at that then. So we have here under our dashboard here, we have a card. Now, this card is going to, again, show us the saint of the day. So we can click this then, and it will update daily depending on the different saint feast days. So I can click this card here and open it up, and I can read about the saint. It is also going to offer me different further reading that is going to be linkable. So I can click on these and read further. Today's saint, it looks like there's not a lot about initially, but there is some further reading if we'd like to dig into it even deeper. So this is one option to add to your dashboard. Now, whenever you open a resource in Verbum, you'll notice that it will open up like in whatever panel you most recently had it in. And just know that you can move these panels around. You can make it bigger, just like this. You can click on the tab and move it around. You'll notice that when you do that, this gray section appears where you might have it. So you can make it larger, smaller, just by dragging those tabs around. So do keep that in mind. When you're done reading a resource, to close that resource, you can either click the little X at the top of the tab, or if you have multiple resources open at the same time, the quickest way to close all of your resources is to go down here to the bottom and click Close All. So you'll notice this button down here at the bottom where it says Close All is going to be one of your best friends. You'll use it frequently. And so you can go ahead and click that and close all of it. So this is how you edit and add to your dashboard. You can explore these other sections as you'd like to. Again, we'll talk about other one a little bit later on in our time together today, but we'll continue to talk about others in the future in future trainings. So this is the top section of our homepage. It's called our dashboard and it's customizable. Okay, right below our dashboard, we have our Explore section. So the Explore section here is different articles that you get to choose based on different topics. So yours, when you open Verbum, may look a little bit different than mine, just depending on which you've selected. So I'm going to show you how you can customize and edit based on the types of articles that you would like to see on a daily basis. So notice the gear section here on the far right. You can go ahead and click this and you'll see there's different boxes you can check and uncheck. And this will determine what you see on your Explore section. So you'll notice, for example, there's different excerpts, feature suggestions. I like this one. This is from your library, so it will feature different excerpts or different sections from my library and encourage me to read it. I can click on it and I can see, oh, I didn't, sometimes, depending on the amount of books you have, you may not even realize you have certain resources. So I like to have this one checked. You can have Logos pre-orders here, Verbum messages. Also here below is pre-orders. So this is going to be Verbum pre-orders. I like to have this one checked on because if you're not familiar with how it works, pre-orders will always be discounted. So you'll get a significant discount if you'll get to see new books that are coming to Verbum. And if you order them before they actually are live, you receive a discount. So pre-orders are good, are something that I like to have on. Gives me an idea of what's coming and also an opportunity to save if it's something that I'd like to have. You can have Today in Christian History, the Verbum blog, Verbum training videos, which I like to have turned on again as help. First of the day, and then word by word. This is the Logos blog. So you can decide which sections you would like to have turned on. You can click those buttons, and then those different squares will appear. So these are updated. You'll see different sections daily. You can scroll through and see what pops up and read through. You'll see we've got the Verbum blog here. Here's a pre-order. Here's something from my library. So again, this has been customized based on the boxes that I selected. So this is our homepage. It's made up of those two sections, the dashboard and the Explore tool, completely customizable by you based on what you would like to see. So just know that you can always turn things off or turn them on. And again, when it comes to these cards, you can always click the panel menu. If you decide I'm not reading the Saints daily, it's just busying up my space, feel free to click it and remove the card. And you can always add it back at a later time. Okay, so this is our homepage. We're going to next talk about our library. That's the second thing I mentioned that we would be covering today. We're going to talk about how you search your library, find the resources that you need. This is, again, a very basic training on the library, but we'll have more in-depth ones in the future. So stick around for those too. Let's take a look. Let's go ahead and open up our library here. It's the second tab down on the left. Now, you may open your library and you may see, it may appear like a very small window for you, just depending. You may look like this when you open it up. Know that you can make it larger like this, but you can also, and this is what I like to do when I open my library, click this little button here where I open it in a floating window. And then I'm able to move this around and it's a large window for me to work with now. So here is my library. Now let's take a little tour of this library. I'm going to show you different views that you can utilize and some of my own recommendations, but no, you can customize it as you would like to. So you can search your library in a variety of ways. You can search by a specific title just by searching in the top search bar here. So for example, I could search for the Catechism of the Catholic Church by just typing in CCC here, and this pops up and I can click and I can open this if I wish to. So that opens it up behind there. You can also search by filtering. So maybe you don't know exactly what you're looking for, but you want to see all the different Bibles or commentaries, etc., that you have in your library. Now you can do that using the filters, but I want to show you better view for this, in my opinion, to be able to really see all of your resources. So let's walk through that first. First of all, you're going to see here at the top all of your resources. The number of resources that you have in your library is going to differ from mine. This is my demo account, so I have a lot of resources here, but yours will differ depending on the package that you received. And I saw one question come through about numbers of resources, and we can chat about that at the end. We'll get to all questions at the end, so do stick around for those. Okay, so up here at the top, you'll notice a couple different things. You can sort your library by title, most used, most recent, etc. I tend to sort it by title. This is the view that I want you to pay attention to, though. Go ahead and if you click this button when you have your software open, you'll notice that you can view your books in a couple different ways. Currently, I have it under title view. I can also click cover view or details view. And this is the one that I like to use and I recommend. But again, it's going to be very much based on your own preference. So I'm going to go ahead and click details view. So you'll notice here under my details view, I'm able to see much more about my books here. So I have the title, author, series, etc. Now you're only going to see some of them. You may have to scroll to see all of the sections that you have. And you can add to this top section here to customize it to see the types of details that you want to see in your library. And I'm going to show you how to do that. If you just right click on this top bar here, anywhere you'd like to, you'll see this pops up. Now this will allow you to add any detail that you'd like to these sections. So you could choose the subject. I do like to have the subject included as well. And you can also remove them. So for example, I don't necessarily need to see the rating all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. And so the rating's not going to show up for me. Maybe I don't want to have my tags visible in this view, even though I like having my tags visible sometimes, I can remove that as well. Again, this gives me a little bit more space. Now you can make these sections larger or smaller as you wish to as well. So you can customize how you view this, and I love that about this particular view. And let me show you even more so why I love this. So within your library, you're going to be able to narrow down and filter down your resources in different ways using the filters here on the left. Now, I want to let you know, if you open your library and you don't see these filters, it may be because currently it looks like this, and so your filters are not visible. Never fear, you do have those filters available to you. You just need to click that hamburger menu here on the left to open that up, and you'll be able to see all of your filters. Now let's filter this down a little bit so I can show you how these filters work. Now let's say, for example, I want to see all of my Bibles. And so I can filter it down here by Bible just by clicking this. Now you'll notice that this in particular is going to show me all of the different, it's going to separate it out, some of these by different sections. So I could actually narrow it down or view it differently if I'd like to view it by series, for example. This way I can see the different series and I can more easily see the different Bibles that I have here in my library. Let's also look at commentaries and see how we can narrow those down if we want to look at those by type as well. Let's go ahead. Notice up here at the top of our library, whenever we've narrowed it down, it's going to add this metadata here. To remove that and go back to our all search, we just need to X out of that data at the top. So we'll go ahead and do that here. Now we're still looking at it by series. So I want to go back to titles so I can see the titles again. So I'm going to click title here at the top of this bar, and this will come back to that original view that we had looking at our resources by title. Okay, so now maybe I want to look at my commentaries, for example. So I can narrow it by Bible commentary. Now again, you'll see that currently this is showing me my commentaries and all of the different individual books within a series. So I'm going to want to look at it by series instead of by title, and this is going to narrow it down even more for me. So for example, here, my Anchor Yale Bible series, if I want to take a look at these and expand it, I can see my 92 volumes within that particular commentary are available to me to look at, and I can narrow it down further to select whichever section I'd like to. Now, it's really helpful to be able to look at your resources by type, particularly because I highly encourage you to prioritize your resources by type. Now, if you're not familiar, you are able to prioritize your resources in Logos, which means that when you open your Bible in the software, it's going to default to the Bible that you've said, this is my favorite Bible. And you can prioritize as many as you'd like to, and you can order them appropriately. So if you want to see one copy of the Bible and you open up a second copy of the Bible, etc., when you open up and you're comparing translations, it'll pull up your top 5 instead of just the default Bibles that Verbum has available to you. So you are able to go through and prioritize your Bibles within Verbum. So let's take a look and see how we do that. So here at the top of your library, on the right-hand side in this kebab menu here, or this panel menu, go ahead and click this, and you'll see this button here to prioritize your books. So you can click this to prioritize them. And you'll notice I just have a few prioritized here because we're going to do some of them together today. But currently I've only prioritized some Bibles and commentaries, but you can prioritize lexicons, you can prioritize all sorts of types of resources as you'd like to. We're just going to focus on these 2 today, but know that you are free to prioritize whatever resources you would like. So let's talk about commentaries first, and then we'll come back to Bibles. So currently I have my Anchor Yale Bible commentary prioritized. It's one that I use frequently, so I have that as number 1. I also have the Sacra Pagina series prioritized. Now, if you are not sure which commentaries you would like to use, these are both really good ones if you have them. But you can always come into this view where we went from commentaries by type and viewed it by series to see all the ones that you have. This is a great way to get a good view to see what you have here. And as you scroll through the series, you may see a title that strikes you and you think this would be a good one to add. So for example, I'm going to scroll down here and find the Navarre commentary series and add this one here. So when you find it, you can go ahead and expand that section. You can just drag and drop into your prioritized books, but what I recommend is clicking on it here. Go ahead and right click on it. You can right click on a individual book or the tab there, right click on it. And you'll notice that it gives you the option to prioritize this book or prioritize the series. I always recommend prioritizing the series unless you just have one book one specific book in a commentary that you want to prioritize. Prioritize the series. It pops up over here for me. So now I have these 3 prioritized. Now know that this Anchor Yale is going to be my top prioritized commentary because it's at the top. Then number 2 is Sacra Pagina. Number 3 is the Navarre. If I want to move those around, I can just click and drag and drop them to switch up that order. But the Anchor Yale is always going to be my top one that pops up first for me. Okay, let's prioritize a Bible. Instead of filtering, let's go to search for a Bible just so we can look at that one more time. Let's go ahead and add, currently I have the ESV CE, which is my top. Got the Revised Standard Version as well. Let's add the NABRE here. So I can just go ahead and click and drag and drop this one if I want to. So that's an example of how you drag and drop it. So this is how you prioritize your resources. So now I'll show you here, if I close my library, when I open my Bible, you'll notice that my version that pops up here was my ESV CE copy here. So whichever Bible you've prioritized, if you open your Bible, it will automatically populate to that prioritized version if that's the one that you choose. So let's go ahead and close all of this for now. And again, we'll go down to the bottom here and select Close All. So far we've talked about two things. We've talked about how to set up your homepage and your explore with your dashboard and your explore section. We've also looked at our library. We've looked at how to sort and prioritize resources and how to find resources using the filtering system. You can combine different filters to narrow it down even further, and you can view in different ways to make sure that you're finding what you need. So the last thing we're going to talk about today before I take questions is going to be the layouts. I mentioned I'll show you how to access Quick Start layouts today, which can get you started immediately with your study without needing to know a lot of the other tools in the software. Quick Start layouts are amazing. If you haven't been taking advantage of them to date, hopefully from today on, this will help you to get started today. Because as I mentioned, we have more trainings coming, but if you are currently in a spot where you don't want to wait a week to get started, I want to show you these quick start layouts today so you can start using them. So what quick start layouts are is they are layouts that have been put together by the creators of the software to help make your job of studying easier. And so let's dive into one or two of them today so we can take a look and see what they offer for us. In the future, I will show you how to create your own layouts so that you can make them even more customized to your preferences. But for today, we'll just look at the ones that are put together for us. And these are called our Quick Start layouts. These layouts are available down here at the bottom left of our screen under layouts. So you can go ahead and click this, and you'll notice at the top, there's all of these Quick Start layouts available. We're just going to take a look at the top one today. In the future, we'll take a look at others, but today we're just going to take a look at the Bible and commentary layout, just so I can give you an idea. But know that you can come back and explore any one of these layouts. They're very aptly named based on their goals. Sometimes you may find resources that you're not as interested in within them. And in the future, as I mentioned, we'll talk about creating your own. But let's click on this top one here, the Bible and commentary layout. Now notice here, this opened up for me my top Bible and my top commentary on this particular book of the Bible. So again, if you've prioritized your resources, those will populate for you and use Quick Start layouts. So what it will do is this particular layout will pull your Bible up and pull your commentary up, but not just pull them up next to each other. It also links them together using our link sets. Now, in the future, we will talk about how to link resources together, and you can do this on your own. But for today, I want to show you what that means. You'll notice that as I scroll through my Bible here, my commentary scrolls with me because they are linked together. If I navigate to a different passage here in my Bible, my commentary navigates there with me. So this makes it really convenient to study. I'm not needing to type a new passage into my Bible as well as into my commentary to get started on studying. Automatically, Verbum is going to link those together and is going to pull it or get me to the right spot in my commentary along with my Bible. So this is what I wanted to show you today. Today, again, just as a form of review before we go to questions, we talked about how to set up that homepage, how to prioritize your resources in your library, and then how to use those Quick Start layouts. One other thing that I will show you before we get to questions, I suppose I show you this too. If you're as you start to play around with the software, know that you can't break it. Just start to use it, and as you do so, if you have questions in real time, you can always come to the panel menu here and select Help About This Feature. This will offer you some additional help so that you can understand how to use something if you are curious. And I'll share with you here in a moment my email address as well. If you'd like to reach out to me, I'm always happy to help you if you have any questions as well. So I'm going to pull up a few closing comments today before I jump to questions, but know that you can drop any questions that you may have for me in the Q&A box. And if you do have to leave before we get through those questions, feel free to click that link at the top of the survey to let me know how today's webinar served you, and let me know other topics you would like to see in the future. That would be so helpful to me. So first of all, I want to let you know that you are going to receive an email today. I'm going to be sending you a recording of this email, as well as a link to some other webinars. I'm also going to drop that in the chat here in just a moment before we conclude so that you are able to jump in on some of the other offerings that we have coming up if you're interested. So let me grab that link for you. But also want to remind you, do take that survey for me if you would. It would be so helpful to receive any feedback from you to know how today went. I will tell you again that this is our first live Verbum webinar. We've been offering some for our Logos Bible software, which is our Christian version of this software. But this is our very first one specific to Verbum. So I would be so grateful if you would complete that survey for me to let me know how it went for you. That would be super helpful. Also, want to let you know that if you have any questions about your own resources or best pricing, for example, if you are curious about adding a resource to your library, I always like to share this number with you. This is the 888-918-0768. These are our library specialists, and they will always ensure you get the best pricing. But also, as an attendee of today's webinar, you can receive a discount on upgrading and specific resources. So if you're trying to add something, I always recommend give them a call, see what they can do for you. They may or may not be able to do better than you're finding on the website, but they'll certainly be able to guide you and very likely be able to offer you a lower price or a way of getting more for the same. So that's my encouragement to you. So I'm going to jump to questions here, but before I do, I'm going to drop in the chat here that link as I promised. If you're interested in checking out some of the other webinars we have upcoming, feel free to register for them. Would love to see you at those. So I'm going to jump to questions now, and we will take a look at what those. I'm going to go to the Q&A first, and I will come back to the chat here in a little bit, and we'll go from there. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Mike says you had the software for 3 years and use it for Bible presentations. Awesome. And spiritual theological information. You'd love a training specifically on apologetics. Great. Yeah, Mike, would you mind put that in the survey for me? Because that's where I'll always check to see a few other topics. And so put that in there for me if you would. Okay. Cindy says, I don't have a left frame of options, so I was unable to pick a Bible, for example, as you did. How do I turn that on? Cindy, tell me a little bit more in the chat, if you would. What do you mean by the left frame of options? Were you talking about narrowing your resources down? So if I pull my library up here, if you're talking about this filtering system, this is going to be using this hamburger menu here on the left, as we call it, to turn those filters on. Let me know if that's what you're referring to. If it's not, I want to make sure I answer that question for you. Okay, Cindy also says, I added Verbum training videos on my Explore section, but I don't see any training cards when I scroll through the Explore options. Yes, so there should be one that's specifically called Verbum training, but I will tell you that if you search in your library or search in the top section here, Verbum training, just in the go box in the top, you will see here, it says Open Verbum 10 Training Verbum 360. I would recommend going through that if you'd like to go through that ahead of time. We will be covering a lot of similar topics, of course, in our future webinars, but you should see it there as well. So if you don't see it in that Explore section immediately, click on it there. It may be because they are, and all of our trainings are about a year old, except for the live trainings, of course. So it may just not be recent enough to be popping up there, but I would recommend typing it into the Go box here and you should be able to find it. Okay. Okay, and Cindy, you said you have no frame here on the farther left. Is this what you're talking about, this bar here? Notice right at the bottom, you'll see this little button. You can make this smaller, this toolbar smaller and larger. You may also have your toolbar on the top. It's possible. So if you're not finding your library at all, it may be along the top. You'll see these 3 little books. You'll be able to click the library just like that. So if you're still not finding it, you can also feel free to shoot me an email with a screenshot of what you're seeing, and I'm happy to help troubleshoot it. I'll drop here in the chat for you my email if anybody has any questions following today. You'll know where to reach me. I'm going to drop it in the chat. This is for anything having to do with learning how to use the software. I'm happy to assist with. Customer service stuff and sales stuff I can't help with, but learning to use the software I absolutely can. So I'm going to drop this in the chat for you as well. Okay, I'm jumping over to the chat section here to take a look and see what we have there. And then I will navigate through those questions. Okay, Mike says, I got a new phone and downloaded the app, but it only shows 15 books out of my 2,500 that I have. How do I get the rest of them? So, Mike, I'm going to share with you our number for our customer service team. And the reason is because that's a tech question. And they will very likely they'll be the ones that will need to help you with that if you're not seeing the resources. It may be that you are signed in incorrectly, or I don't know. I wouldn't be able to resolve that, but I'm going to share with you a phone number of who you can reach out to receive support specifically for any sort of tech issues. So they can help you with that. So I put that in the chat for you. So that's our support team number. Okay. Then Mike also asks, from the library, can you filter for videos? So if your videos are attached to a book in the library, potentially, but it depends on the type of video that you're looking for. But yeah, you should be able to see any resources in your library. Okay. But I think your question was, can you filter for them? Let's take a look and see. I'm not sure if you can filter by type, but let me take a look. So let's scroll here and take a look and see if there's a video section. I'm not seeing it immediately, Mike, but it may be that I don't have many in my library or any in my library. This is my demo account. I have my own library as well. But if you'd like to know more about that, if you have resources that you know you're not finding and you want to know how to find them, feel free to shoot me that email and I'll look into it further for you. Okay, and Jim says, thanks. Verbum was a lifesaver for my diaconate formation assignments. Continue to use for homily prep and other research studies. Awesome. Yes, it's such a great tool. And we will be talking more. So some of the upcoming topics we're going to be talking about in the next handful of weeks is how to use the notes tool and notebooks, which are huge in terms of collecting research. And then we'll also be looking at how to use it for prayer. And then coming next month, we'll be talking about some other different use cases, for example, using Verbum for writing, etc. So stick around, keep coming to these. Also know if for some reason you can't attend live, you'll receive a recording if you register. So I always encourage registering for these events. All right, let's see here. All right. Taking a look to see if there's any other questions. Okay, Cindy says, I think it's on the top, but it doesn't have all the options yours does. I need to know how to move it left, please. Okay, it's a great question, Cindy. So if you have Verbum 10, you will be able to move it to the left. If you do not have Verbum 10, this is a new option in Verbum 10. So if you're curious about what your options are, I'll show you how to move it to the left if you do have Verbum 10. But also, if you don't, call the number and I'll put it back on the screen here in a moment to just see what your options would be, just to get the most basic level so you have that option if you're interested. So you'll go into your settings here at the bottom and go to program settings. And you'll notice there's an application toolbar location here, and you can have it on the left or on the top. So you can edit it right there. Okay. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. All right. All right. All right. So there should be program settings, Cindy, for version 9 as well. They're going to differ from 10. Um, but I won't I'm showing it with 10, so I don't have those specific versions. If you have questions about your version, if it's customer support questions, you can call that number that I shared. If it is if you're curious about how to get up to 10 and you'd like to do it at a lower price point, as I mentioned, oh, I told you I would share the number and I didn't do it. Here is the number right here at the bottom of the screen. You can feel free to call them and just talk to them about what that would look like for you if you're interested in just getting the most basic upgrade if you'd like to have yours look that way. Your functionality for everything that I showed you today should be the same. You can still prioritize your resources. But as I mentioned, you can also feel free to shoot me a screenshot of what you're seeing and I can try to navigate it for you and help you with that as well. Okay, I think I've gotten through all the questions. I'm going to pop up the survey for you. If you have additional questions, you can reach me by email in that email that I shared with you. Feel free to send me an email and I will be more than happy to follow up with you. If you have further questions, jump in on future webinars too, because you can continue to ask these questions live as you work through it. So popping up this survey for you, please do take it. It'll open up an additional tab for you and allow you to click through those questions and let me know how today went. I would love to know. And thank you so much all for being here. Really looking forward to continuing to grow with you over the next coming weeks as we continue to build up all of our tools in our toolbox to use Verbum for whatever your goals are. I know it's an investment. And so I'm so glad there's so many of you here today who've had it for a while but haven't used it. We want to get you up to speed using the software. So come back. Look forward to seeing you again. And feel free to shoot me an email with any questions that you have. God bless you all. And I hope to connect with you again soon. God bless.